You're live.
All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, as always, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Makakodash. Double honors to the apostle and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. All right, let's just get it.
Maybe you got it. Did you put the screen lock thing on? Maybe flip your phone back. Oh, yeah. What you want?
Jeremiah 15:5. Because now war talk like that. You see inflation, I believe I see on the news the other day, it's like up 40% if I'm not mistaken. If it's not 40%, that's like in the 20s if I'm not mistaken. And all these things happen in the world, and our people acting like they don't see these things. But our people are going to have to be a part of these things. Well, I mean be a part of it, meaning that they're going to have to go through these hard times. You know, like over there in Russia right now, Putin's making people get drafted to the war. What happens when... What do you think is going to happen when that comes over here? Whoever Biden's going to make people get drafted. And the same thing that they're doing over there in Russia, where some of them is doing something where like they're having to break their arm so that way they don't have to get drafted. What you people going to do over here when you got to get drafted? And you women as well. Because you women all got equal rights. Anything a man can do, you can do as well. Well, okay, well, since a man can go to war, you can go to war as well, sweetie.
That's right.
It. What was that? He said 15:5?
Yeah.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 15, verse 5. For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem? Or who shall bemoan thee? Or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest?
Right. Now, this is happening during the when the Lord's going to bring the Babylonians against Israel, because Israel was going off and he had gotten tired of the wickedness. Specifically because of King Manasseh, the son of Hezekiah, and the wickedness that he did for, I believe, 50 years that he was ruling. So that's why the Lord is bringing the Babylonians, because of the wickedness that he brought upon in Israel. But that still applies to this day as well, because the Lord's going to bring what? Evil upon people in these times. And when, matter of fact, if you go up a little bit, start at the top, matter of fact.
All right. This is Jeremiah 15:1. Then said the Lord unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be toward this people.
Right. So Moses and Samuel are two great men of the Lord, two prophets. And what? Even if Moses and Samuel stood before the Lord to plead on Israel's behalf, the Lord was not going to have mercy on them. Continue.
It says, cast them out of my sight and let them go forth. And it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then shalt thou tell them, thus saith the Lord, such as are for death to death, and such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for famine, or for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity.
Right, so that's what we're going to tell people in these times, because you didn't want to heed the word, you didn't want to take heed to the message that we were telling you. What? So we're going to say what? Captivity for the captivity, which could be them concentration camp, famine for the famine, death for the death. Whether you die in these race wars or die in just, like, I think I seen it sometime this week on the news, some guy stabbed another guy because he didn't tell him thank you.
Yeah,
you saw it, right?
Yeah.
He didn't tell him thank you for keeping the door open.
The guy who held the door open, he's the one who got stabbed. So the guy who didn't say thank you is the one who stabbed him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's some crazy judgment right there.
Yeah. But it's spiritual, because when you watch the video and you hear the story, the guy who held the door that the other guy didn't say thank you for, he really brought it upon himself. Because after the guy kept going, he went on to continue and you know, piss off the dude even more.
They was tussling.
Yeah, and then the dude still left him, and the dude who had the knife was getting on his bike to leave, and then this guy went outside with him, slapping him in the face and all of that, and eventually, you know. Yeah.
I think I just seen it when they was tussling inside. I'm like, damn, over not
saying thank you. Yeah,
I'm gonna just say thank you from now on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, if you don't say thank you, you don't gotta say it. He ain't asked you to hold the door. You know.
That's true.
Now you lost your life.
Even spiritual, I'm looking around like, I didn't let him go because he didn't say thank you.
That's why you're here. That's it. Keep going.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, you go back to 5.
Cut. So jumping down, Jeremiah 15, verse 5. It says, for who shall have a pity upon thee, O Jerusalem? Or who shall bemoan thee? Or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest?
Right. Jerusalem is a people before it's a place, and that's talking about Israel.
Verse 6. Thou hast forsaken me, saith the Lord. Thou art gone backward. Therefore will I stretch out my hand against thee and destroy thee. I am weary with repenting.
Right, and that's what the Lord's gonna do. He's gonna his hand, meaning his power, through the angels. What's that? I'm second. Ezekiel 9:4, 9:5.
Yep. You want that?
Yeah, come on, let's get that. Because that's what the Lord's gonna do. Because why? Because Israel's hard-headed and stubborn. They don't want to listen. You seeing all these things on TV, Putin getting ready for war, World War III.
Yep.
You seeing judgment all the time, crazy things happen on the news, and people acting like they don't see these things. Man. Especially our people. But our people are the first ones to say, oh, see that, that's what's written in the Bible. See this and that. But okay, well, what are you doing to get ready for these times, man? Nothing, not a goddamn thing. And you're gonna get caught up in these things. That's why it says what? Who shall bemoan thee? Because when our people have to go through these things and they're crying and all these tears are coming upon their face, none of these other nations gonna care for you, especially Esau, Edom. They're not gonna shed a tear for you.
They're gonna be doing it.
Oh, sorry. None of these other nations have ever shed a tear for our people. Especially with the whole Black Lives Matter thing. Anytime people get killed in the street, what? They just put a face on that they pretend like they care, but they don't really give a damn about our people.
Yep. You going? Yeah. Ezekiel 9, right? You want me to start at 4 or straight to 5?
No, you get 4.
All right.
I believe it's 4 is
the mark upon the foreheads.
Yeah.
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 9, verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry, for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
Right, and that mark in the Hebrew is the wa, which means exempt from judgment. So the men that are sighing and crying for the abomination that's done in this land, the Lord's willing we be a part of that, be a part of the elect, that part of that number, we're going to be exempt from judgment. That's a spiritual mark. And the sign for the abominations that are done in this place, because now they're just pushing the whole, I'm gonna just say it this way: the DRAG thing, all over the place. Now I'm seeing on the TV. I'm seeing on YouTube now. Before it was just, I could avoid it by not watching. I don't watch TV, but I could avoid it by not watching TV. But now it's on YouTube, and I watch YouTube. So it's like now I can't avoid this stuff. I'm seeing it in the train station where I'm going. I'm seeing all this lewd behavior. Here it is, a big brolic man who's 250 pounds, but he's dressed like a woman. What the hell is that, man? And you're supposed to just sit there and act like it's a normal thing. That's not a normal thing. That's you're messed up in the mind, man. But we know that that's spiritually, that's a demon plaguing people's mind to make them think like that. What makes you think that you're supposed to be a woman, man? What kind of nonsense? And then you're just supposed to sit there and be like, oh, okay, fine, this is cool. That's not cool, man. That's not how the Most High designed man to live, especially the Israelite man, but any man in general. And you have the Edomites, what's the word I'm looking for? Perpetrating this upon the world? Perpetrating this upon the world, making it seem normal, man. But it's not a normal thing at all. Continue.
That's right. Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 5. And to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children, and women. But come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin in my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house.
Right, so the Lord's going to send the death angels to not have no mercy, not upon a man, not upon his woman, not upon a child, nobody. And when these things happen upon people, upon the Israelites, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, and those of you that may not look like it, but you're scattered through the four corners of the earth, who's gonna bemoan you for these things? Who's gonna care and sit there and look upon you and have any pity upon you, any mercy upon you? As a matter of fact, when you go through
who shall pity a trouble?
No, not that. It's in First Ezra. Let's see that.
I'll get a quick, see if I can find it. All right, quick precept while you get that. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach, chapter 12, verse 13. It says, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts?
Oh, you can speak.
All right, so yeah, pretty much just like you were going into, who's gonna mourn for you, because the wild beast in this sense is metaphorical for Esau. All right, applying it now. So you've been warned, right, about the dangers of trusting in your enemy, and yet you still go and trust in him anyway. So when he turns around and bites you like he's getting ready to do, which he already bit a couple of people with the venom and gave it to them, when they start getting hurt and feeling the effects, who's going to feel bad for them? And a prime example is somebody sipping the Kool-Aid when we told them not to, and then now they start to feel some wild ass effects. Why should we feel bad for them?
But just going back and looking at our history, looking at what we went through in this land, why would you trust them? Because like you said, right, the beast is Esau, and who's gonna pity a charmer when he's bitten by a serpent?
Yep.
Before the man of the Lord came out prophesying on the streets, look at our history. This man has shown you that he doesn't like us. They've shown you that they hate us.
Yep.
You had it. I remember doing a video on it. This man called Dapper Dan was saying, "I know about the history of Tuskegee. I know about things like this, but we still got to trust the science and take the rolling up of the sleeve." His name's Dapper Dan. You can look up. You can probably look it up. He was like, "I know about the Tuskegee. I know about it. But guys, we still got to trust the science."
Why?
And still told people to go and roll up their sleeves, knowing about Tuskegee.
Yep.
But that's the wicked of our people, and they love to have it so.
They probably still did it anyway, without asking questions. That's the problem. Our people don't ask questions. Somebody, if he comes out and says that, I know about this, that, and the third, but we still got to do it, the first question you got to ask, so why we got to do it? If you know about this, that, and the third, why are you telling us to do this? Ain't nobody going to ask that. They're going to go and roll up their sleeves and sip the aid.
Con, when you talk to people, they always sit there and say things like, "Oh, I think we need to just stop thinking so hard. I think we need to stop thinking so hard about certain things. I think we just need to just chill out." But it's like, no, that's the problem. We don't have a lot of thinkers here in this world, man. Our people don't think at all. Well, I'll bring out this precept I want to bring out. It's kind of a little lengthy, but it says, 2nd Ezra chapter 1, verse 24, right? And when you read through this chapter, basically the Lord is speaking to Ezra saying, like, look, all the things that I've done for your people, and yet your people still turn their back upon you.
Right.
So I'm just going to get to like the main points. Verse 24, 2nd Ezra chapter 1, verse 24. It says, "What shall I do unto thee, O Jacob? Thou Judah wouldest not obey me. I will turn thee to other nations, and unto those will I give my name, that they may keep my statutes. Seeing ye have forsaken me, I will forsake you also." And that's what our people do. Anytime they pass by here and they hear us speaking the word, and they don't want to turn back to the Heavenly Father, you're not forsaking yourself, as it's going to say here when I read down a little bit. But I'm
not
sorry,
forsaking the Lord.
You're not forsaking the Lord, but you're forsaking yourself, man.
Yep.
Because you're forsaking your only help. Because that's what the Lord is saying when he's going through this with Ezra. Like, look at all the good I've done for your people. When they were in the wilderness, did I not give them manna? When they were in the wilderness, did I not give them quails to their foe? Even though they were being all lustful and things like that. Many kings that I destroyed for their sakes. We had all this, and yet y'all still turn against me. Y'all still murmuring, "Oh, can he do this in the wilderness? Can he furnish a table? Can he do this and that?" Motherfucker, I opened up the sea for y'all.
Yep.
When Amalek came against us, who do you think gave you the victory for that? Who do you think put upon the curses upon Egypt? All these things I did for you, and yet you still murmur and still complain. And that's what our people do. But when they were in Egypt, they were complaining, "Oh, we want to leave, we want to get out of here." But now when it's time to get out, or when it's time to go to the promised land for the Lord to complete his oath that he said he would do, now it would have been better if he was back in Egypt. We missed the garlic and the lemons and the leeks and all this. But when he was in Egypt, he was complaining.
Yeah, which in that verse, when the Lord said he's going to turn to another people, he's still talking about Israelites. But a major fulfillment of that was in the New Testament, around when the Apostle Paul, and the rest of the apostles were, teaching the Israelite foreigners, the quote-unquote Gentiles, to bring them in. Because you have people hear that and say, "Oh, see, the Lord said he's going to go to another nation."
Where was that? 25, I'll read it again. "Seeing ye have forsaken me, I will also forsake you also. When ye desire me to be gracious unto you, I shall have no mercy upon you. Whensoever ye shall call upon me, I will not hear you. For ye have defiled your hands with blood, and your feet are swift to commit manslaughter." Verse 27, "Ye have not as it were forsaken me, but your own selves, saith the Lord." Like I was saying, our people is forsaking themselves. So when these things come upon you, some of our people is going to get drafted into the war.
Yep.
You think any of those guys, they're going to put a rifle in your hand and say, "Yo, you got to go to war." And when you have kids, they're like, "I don't want to go to war, this and that." Nobody's going to cry for you. You think when your house shot comes back, he's going to sit there and be like, "Oh, well, this is your lot, buddy. I'm about to destroy you." what was that? Second Ezra 13th chapter, when he said, when I perceived everything, I saw dust and smoke, and when I saw this, I was very afraid. But our people think it's a joke seeing World War III happen, inflation, and the thing about it is, when you talk to our people, if you just listen to them talk, they know certain things. Don't think that Israel is stupid and they just don't know anything at all. They know exactly, to some degree, what's going on. They just, whatever reason, they think it's just gonna be fine. It's just gonna pass over. Oh, the day that that day that you guys are talking about, oh, it's far from me. This will just subside. This will just be, you know, this will just pass. But no, the same day that you were talking about that's not gonna touch you is a day that's fastly approaching. It's like them. You always make that example with them, like horror movies. The killer's chasing the person and they're just speeding, running away, but then he somehow always finds them. That's the judgment that's coming. These are the last days that's coming upon us, that you're trying to run away from, saying, oh, we're going to get away from it. It's not going to touch us. But yeah, what? It's coming up closer and closer. No matter how far you try to run, no matter how much you try not pay attention, it's going to come and touch you, man.
That's it. Now, you mentioned about their husbands dying and getting drafted into the war. This is the book of Second Ezra, which is also part of prophecy. Second Ezra chapter 16, verse 33. It says, the virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms, which shows you there's going to be a scarcity of men. Right? It says here, the women shall mourn, having no husbands. So a lot of them are going to be widows, either some that can't find husbands or some whose husbands are dead.
And that fits with Isaiah 13 and 12, is it? I'll
Yep,
make a man
exactly.
more precious. Because now it said there's a scarcity of them. And I think when you even read in a different translation for Isaiah 13 and 12, it says, I will make men scarce, if I'm not mistaken. I think if you read it, you could search it.
Yeah,
if it's either the NLT or, matter of fact, I got it. You could continue on.
Okay. So that and that's a good point, right? Because the more scarce something is, the more valuable it becomes, right? Think about right now, somebody's not gonna kill you over food, but in the time when food is scarce, somebody would kill you over food. So
because it's become more valuable now. It's like the abundance of it is like it's always around, but if there's less of it now, it's like I really need it.
That's it.
That's like what I don't know if you've seen that episode, but with SpongeBob with the water.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I don't need it. I don't need it. I need it.
That's it. That's it. You couldn't hide it no more. Yeah, that's because I mean that's like how that's how ugly chicks become beautiful, right? When there's a scarcity of women, you know, people start to see things differently, you know.
You ain't too ugly to get raped.
Yeah, that's the boondocks. That's it. That's it. Yeah, that's what they do to these people in jail. So it says here, the virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. So why are they not going to have bridegrooms and husbands? Because the wars are going to be taking place, and they're going to be drafting them, and then they're going to be put to death. So a lot of women are going to be out here not having a defense, because Isaiah 32 and 2 tells you a man shall be as a hiding place from the covert, you know, and so on and so forth. So when all this destruction is going on out here, they're not going to have people to turn to. That's why with the scarcity of men, Isaiah 4 and 1 is going to take place. Because a woman ain't going to say, oh, you got 3 women with you already, I'm going to go find me another man. There ain't going to be no other man to find. So you go,
or you'd be lucky to find one.
Exactly. Exactly, yep.
Matter of fact, I got it. Now it says a little differently. It doesn't say man, but it says the NLT for Isaiah 13 and 12, it says, I will make people scarcer than gold, more rare than the fine gold of Ophir.
Which is really talking about the men. Yep. Damn, there was a precept that, yep, there it is. I'm gonna jump up real quick. It says, 2 Ezra 16 and 26, the grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men, so that one man shall desire to see another, and to hear his voice. For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks.
Now remember what the scripture said about men. It said what in Genesis, that it's not the Lord made a help me for Adam, but it's not good for man to be alone.
Yep.
Now it's not saying that man can't be alone, but it's not good for a man to be alone.
Right.
So how much more for you women, that you women, if you talk to some chicks, they'll be like, I can't stand being alone. I feel unsafe. I feel uneasy. I need someone here with me. Some chicks will stay at home with their friends and things like that because they don't like living by themselves. Matter of fact, I remember reading up an article not too long ago I forgot the numbers, the statistics for how many single mothers there are that's by themselves, have no man, no nothing, but it's a lot. So when these times come, where are you single mothers gonna go to for help?
Right.
You single mothers, not all of you, but some of you sit there and say, I don't need a man, I don't need no protection, I don't need no nigga and things like that. Okay, well when men act a fool out here in the streets, when men have demonic spirits on them, when they have that death angel on them, and they've been seeing you for years, walking up and down the street half naked, and they're like, finally, the day's come, baby. I likes you, and I want you.
That's it.
And we gonna do this the hard way.
No,
Exactly.
No option.
They're coming for you because you've been parading around the streets with no clothes on.
Yep.
And they finally see the day where I can get in that ass.
Right.
So what you gonna do? You gonna need a man, but not just any man, a righteous man, a man of the Lord that's gonna protect you. A man that the Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Yahshua, is dealing with and he's protecting. And if you're underneath his protection, he's also gonna protect you. That's how the Lord deals. The Lord is merciful like that. But some of you women think you don't. Think about it. We live in a backwards ass world where women think that it's not okay to be with a good man. A good man he's boring, he's not exciting, he's not fun. You can still have, is it child?
I think so. Yeah, it's too high. Yeah, I think that was there.
But yeah, we live in a backwards world where women don't like a good man. What kind of world is that? A good man will keep you safe. He will provide for you. You can have all the stuff that you want with one of these guys that you see on the TV or whatever, like your Chris Browns or whoever. But what? You'll just be more, I don't want to say more secure, but what? You'll have a more trustworthy man. Because what? You know that even though a man can deal with as many women that he wants, but what? The normal average man, he's not really looking out there to have so many women. If you try to get one of these high value men, they're looking to mess with as many women as they want. That's how they say it?
No, because in the world they're considered high value, but they're really the real high value.
Salaki. But that's how they deem it though in this world. They look at those men as high value men.
Yep.
So you think that these high value men are gonna care about your feelings or anything like that? They're gonna do whatever the hell they want to do.
That's right.
But you know, like I don't want to go on a rant, but that's the backwardness of this world.
Yep. Oh, there's an anime that I was watching. I never finished it. I don't remember, but it was I think it was called B Tomb or like something like that. It was dealing with like this video game that the main character used to play this video game where you would use like bombs. You set bombs, use it to like, you know, kill people and stuff like that. And he was really good at it. So I think one day he ended up on some like what's the name of that TV show, Squid Games, where they basically like knock your ass out randomly and then you wake up on some island somewhere. And they were doing like a real life version of the game he was playing. So he actually had to do that. Yeah, and people were dying and shit, you know. But the point is that there was a girl in there. And you know, like in the game, you know, you see dudes, they try to go after them and all that. There was this fat dude. And he basically played the role of like being a nerdy, kind, sweet, fat guy, right? So he did that, and she trusted him. So they got to the point where he managed to deceive her to separate from the rest of the group. And then when he got her alone, then his fat ass jumped on her like drooling and shit, all tears and all that shit on her, like, yeah, I'm about to have you now. And that's when that realization hit her, like, yo, she can't trust any dude out here. So when she met the main character, she was shook up because any dude she met, she had the mentality that this person ain't gonna want nothing but what he wants, you know? So what else does she have to bargain with? And going back to your point, that's what a lot of these women are gonna have to struggle with, which is meeting somebody that's not just gonna grab you up, do whatever. Yeah, no worries. You know, grab you up, do whatever, and then just throw you to the curb or kill you or whatever the case may be. So it's gonna be, that's why it says a man of the Lord is gonna be more precious, because these men are not gonna take you to protect you or provide for you. They're gonna take you to rape you and then kill you or throw you somewhere, right? So to find a man of the Lord that you can actually come under and be protected, that's gonna be like winning the lottery.
That's why, you know, if you watch those MGTOW things, they say what? Men are the prize, not the women.
Yep.
And that's how it was back in the ancient world, because what? The man had all what? Cause I was meditating upon this, because I was looking through Instagram, I was seeing like you women, Salak, you're not trying to go on a rant, but you women are literally getting away with murder.
Yep.
Like literally, can we get that precept, a woman shall compass a man?
Yep.
Because you women are literally getting away with murder. The way you're able to just parade yourself on social media and just have yourself like that, and then you get all these likes, all these views. just for having a nice body, having some tits, having some ass, and you could just become famous, OnlyFans and all that. I don't know if that's still up, but
I think it's still
Yeah, it is.
and you could just get thousands of dollars just from
a month. Some making millions a month.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Those.
All of that. And it's like you're getting away with murder. And then when a man tells you to cover up, you know, put on some clothes, dress modestly, you don't tell me what to do. You ain't my father. You don't control me. But yo, like as a man's supposed to have authority over his wife. That's why the man is the head of the household, man. He's supposed to tell you what to do. He's supposed to tell you, yo, don't go outside looking like that, man. I don't want other people seeing my goodies. Come on now, man. Oh, it's fine. They still going. Only you having it. They not touching it. I don't give a damn. A man's touching it in his head right now.
That's it. Yeah, that's really the mentality you gotta be in. You gotta have at least some level of jealousy about you, because the Most High is a jealous power, and when you're jealous, it's hard for somebody to pull like a chick to put a fast one on you, because it'll be easier for you to detect if something is off, because your mind is always alert. Some women try to play the card on you of like, oh, if you are alert over her, then you're insecure about something.
Yeah.
And then so they do that so you can back off, and then they can turn around and take advantage of that. And then you say, oh, I was trying not to be insecure, but now she done taking advantage of you.
Yeah, I had that once. I had to deal with that. As always, I'm very insecure. And you know, when you deal with a woman, right, and you don't talk to your brothers, no, this is way before I was in the truth. But when you don't talk to your boys and shit, right, and you just gotta deal with that, you're like, am I crazy?
All right.
I'm insecure. Like, I know I'm not bugging. You did some dirty shit. But then she's like, no, you're just being insecure. And it's like, no, I'm not crazy. I don't say shit. I'm quiet as hell.
Right.
So if I gotta say something, that means you did some shit to me.
Yeah. Yep. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man.
And I believe when you go into that word compass means to go around a man's authority.
Yep.
And this society has been structured for women to go around a man's authority and not listen to the man at all. And it began even further back with when they started the institution of what? Taking the man out the house, taking the head out of the household, and taking the authority out of the household. So what? Now you're just left with the woman, and what? A woman is not a leader of the household. She's not head of the household at all.
Right.
And a woman can't deal with especially if she has, like, even if it's just 2 kids. I've seen women can't even deal with that, let alone 1. So all this craziness and all this madness she got to deal with, the screaming, the crying, and all that. That's why you hear a lot of women sit there and say things like, oh, when their kids get older, they say, oh, I gave them everything that they wanted. No, you gave them material things. But you, as a father what? Gives them lessons. He teaches them how to conduct themselves and how to act. Matter of fact, when you go through the book of Timothy, 1 Timothy and 2 Timothy, that's what Apostle Paul was writing a letter to Timothy on how to conduct himself, first and foremost, as a man of the Lord, but also how to conduct and be the head of a church. So that's how he would know how to lead and guide other people. And that's what a father does specifically for his son, and secondly for his daughter, teaching his daughter how to be a woman to another man.
Right.
But you don't have that when you have the man outside the house.
Yep.
And that's what this society has done. It's instituted where it's kicked the man out of the house, and now you have women just running out here all free. And now men are wondering, why are women like this? Why are they acting like this? Because there's no fathers in the house. Or even if you do have a father in the house, he's not saying nothing at all. Yep. And then he's wondering why his daughter's getting whored out like that. Or some of them are even cool with it.
Destroyed. Back in Ezekiel 9? Or you want to say?
What was in Ezekiel?
Stay utterly old and young. I think we finished that.
Yeah.
So we was back in Jeremiah 15 about, we're gonna run that back again?
Yeah.
Yeah, get that straight. It says back in Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 5. For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem? Or who shall bemoan thee? Or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest? Thou hast forsaken me, saith the Lord. Thou art gone backward. Therefore will I stretch out my hand against thee, and will destroy thee. I am weary with repenting.
Right, so the Lord's getting tired of holding back. Man, I believe it tells you that in, if I'm not mistaken, 2 Ezra 15 chapter. Can we get that real quick? The specific wording, how it says it.
hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness.
Yeah.
That they profanely commit. Things are on the first few verses.
2 Ezra 15:7. Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves.
Right, and when you look at it, Jake is the main one that really Esau uses to what? Promote wickedness upon the earth. With that, the DRAG stuff. Who do you think's the head of that? RuPaul?
The do-rag.
Oh, okay, yeah, we'll say the do-rag. Yeah, what a nice one. The do-rag. Who's the head of that thing, man? RuPaul. And a lot of women sit there and say, oh, that's my favorite show. You nasty bitch. I have to hear that once. Really?
That's crazy.
But you see, that's why another thing as well, you women are, aid in this society of things like this becoming normalized, because what? Once that demon comes upon it, and then, I had to work with a guy like that actually at one of my old security jobs.
Damn.
And when women kind of, he was a weirdo, but some women was okay with it, and some women didn't say nothing about it, and what, they feel comfortable. When you get someone settled and they feel comfortable, now you think, oh, well, society accepts this, society's found this, so I can come out the closet, I can be who I am. This is my truth, accept my truth, accept my reality or whatever. But that's not reality, that's...
Keep your ass in that closet. Ain't nobody wants to see you come out that shit.
No, as a matter of fact, it's better that you do come out, so we can curse you, so Lord can judge you, unless you repent.
That's it.
Put a lock on that shit, starve that nigga out. Yeah, it's literally nobody in the street, man.
Yeah, like, what is that? That's what I'm wondering. I'm like, what's taking so long?
God, they probably should slow down and turn it on.
That's why I kept looking like, what's taking us so long?
It's a passive emergency.
Yeah, exactly.
Reading on. 2 Ezra 15:8. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually.
That's the elect. That's what we're doing, man, because we're tired of this nonsense, man. We're even tired of our own people's stupidity, man.
And therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt.
That Egypt is not ancient Egypt. That's Egypt is talking about America. So how's the Lord not going to suffer us anymore to be here? He's going to deliver his elect, which is the 144 and the 1/3, and he's going to destroy 2/3, man. 2/3 shall cut off and die in the land. That land is talking about America. That's how he's not going to suffer anymore, because the elect is crying. The elect is being that faithful woman that's crying in the ears of the Lord, like that unjust judge that Yahushua spoke about, that wearied him. So the Lord's like, I got to deliver y'all because y'all keep asking for it. He's going to deliver his elect, and then what? He's going to kill off the 2/3. He's tired of seeing y'all stupidity, man.
But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm,
Which is Yahushua, man.
and smite Egypt with plagues as before.
And that's what's happening now. A lot of these diseases is coming out. A lot of these STD diseases is coming out. What is it? You had the, I can't come up with good names, but the that thing came out.
The MV?
No.
Yeah. Then you had, I believe there was another one that came out. Was it syphilis or something like that?
Pertaining to,
I don't know, some.
like, recently?
It was polio bounced back.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah,
It was
that
polio? Oh, I thought it was gonorrhea or
bunch of
something. that
Yeah,
came
that's
out.
a lot.
Well, you gotta watch out too, because, I mean, I'll probably say it now, but they might come back in the future and take this video down, but that's all right. We was watching that earlier today, the Marburg.
Yeah, the Mourn.
Yeah, so they might keep your ears open for that, because that might escalate into something bigger.
Right. Yeah, just finishing out the verse. And smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof.
Yeah, that's gonna be some horrific stuff, man. Because like when we were listening, they were talking about like basically like hemorrhaging, like bleeding out your eyes, out your nose, that kind of stuff. So, I mean, the scriptures do talk about a time like never before. And if that is the route as a result of the Kool-Aid, people are about to be in for some shit. And then the new Kool-Aid for that is going to be even worse. So, I mean, people are going to find out. You got to understand, there's a reason why does it make sense that they went so hard to get everybody to sip of this Kool-Aid and sip some round 2s and round 3s, and then now you're saying, all right, now that's it, no more, we don't need no more, you don't need to drink, now it's optional to drink. It doesn't make sense. They had a certain target that they hit, and if you notice, once they hit that target, the lockdowns were over, they started opening things back up.
They kept saying we got to hit the black and brown communities
The most, because there's something that the Kool-Aid puts inside of you that is for a later. It's like a
Sleeping cell.
The what?
Sleeping cell.
Like a sleeper cell. And they're gonna use. It doesn't make sense that Esau is gonna go so hard for you to drink Kool-Aid that did nothing to you. It didn't protect you from the Vicky, and it didn't make you drop dead right then and there. Some people had some adverse reactions, but now why go so hard for something and we haven't seen any actual major effects of it? Esau does not do that. He always has a reason. There is a reason why there's Kool-Aid inside of people right now, and maybe we're about to start seeing them bleed out Kool-Aid from their eyes and shit. Well, you're gonna see. I believe that there's some trigger that they're gonna push, and we're gonna see why they push so hard for that.
All right, precept. 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
That's right.
Because that's a good point that you made. Because what was the whole point for almost 2 years pushing that and just drop and say, oh, sorry. And even Biden said what? The pandemic's over. You know, people ain't really wearing masks. Man, for 2 years, people ain't really wearing masks.
Yeah.
I mean, when it first came out, yeah, people was, going hard for it. But then after a while, people got tired of the masks. So what you mean people ain't really wearing it? People ain't been wearing it for like 2 years. The range person, like, you don't even know what's going on in your country.
And also it makes sense, right? Like these devils, when you read in the book Behold a Pale Horse, they tell you that the plan was to introduce the actual pathogen by way of a Kool-Aid. So the first step was propaganda to get you to drink the Kool-Aid, and the Kool-Aid is what's actually going to have the problem, that because the big boogeyman doesn't come out of nowhere. You got to start getting the boogeyman into people, and you do that by making them drink the Kool-Aid. So use propaganda to get them to drink it, and then when they drink it, that's when the actual thing is in there. Now, it is possible that these officials, Kamala Harris, Biden, Fauci, all of them, they didn't really take it. There's things called placebos. You know what I mean?
Those syringes.
Yeah, the fake syringes. Yeah. So people, I saw it on TV, so that got to be the end of it. You saw something inside of something that was being put inside them. You don't know. There's no way for you to verify that whatever they put inside them was what you think it was. The only thing you can go off is what they told you.
Could have been a saline solution.
Yeah. But people believe, oh no, I saw Biden take it, so I could take it too. Yeah. It'll come back here.
All right, let's get Revelation 6 and 7.
A second.
Revelation? Yeah, 6 and 7. Because with that thing I saw in the news, I'm not slacking for my mistake with the numbers, but I know it's either up 40% or if it was either 20 or like up 40% with the inflation numbers. If I'm not mistaken. I might be getting that incorrect. But I know they said that inflation was going up when I was looking at the news this week. And that's right there in the scriptures. That's written in prophecy.
Yeah, they're probably talking about like either like year to date or like maybe they're saying like you hit like 40-year highs or so.
Oh, I think that's what I was saying, 40-year highs. But still, inflation is still around.
Yep. Well, they're saying in the UK they're projecting. I think Citigroup and some other company was saying that it could hit around 18 to 22% starting early next year in UK. So.
Matter of fact, before we get Revelation 6:6, can we get a Revelation 19 and 10?
Yes, we can.
Because you see, everything that we're bringing out, we're bringing out prophecies, and we're making the end manifest to you. We're letting you know what's going to happen in these times. Because we're not just a prophet unto our own people, we're a prophet unto the nations. Because we had some of our people pass by, we had other nations pass by. So we're not just a prophet unto our people, but we're a prophet to all nations. We're telling every nation, especially our own nation, the end. What's going to happen? What's going to happen these last days? The dark time is going to happen, and nobody wants to hear about it. This is prophesying. This is, like it says, prophecy means to say before. We're telling you the evil that's going to happen before it happens. And you're actually living in these times. You're seeing it right now. You're seeing World War III unfold right before your eyes with Putin talking about nuclear war. And people are just walking around like everything's fine. At any point, you know the Lord could put in this man and say, you know what? Just shoot something somewhere in Ukraine. Just press the button. And then what? That starts a whole domino effect of things that will happen that will eventually lead America and Russia to eventually go at it. And you actually, history shows you that the Lord wanted that to happen because what? If I'm not mistaken, back in the 90s, you had what? The Cold War, where, if I'm not mistaken, America put missiles over there somewhere near Russia, and then Russia put somewhere in, what was it, in Cuba, if I'm not mistaken?
I believe so.
Cuba Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
Okay, the water. So that was to show you that what? The Lord was showing you even a long time ago that what? I'm going to have these two go at it.
Yep. But that's why the Lord said it'll be as in the days of Noah. Because just like this, as Noah was warned them of a very serious threat, they acted as though nothing was going to happen until the very day that the flood came and swallowed them all. So that's why we see them just like this, you know.
Right. They probably saw Noah building the ark, doing this thing like, fuck this guy, what's he doing?
Just like they see us prophesying and they think the same thing.
Now I believe it. You could probably get that a little after, if I'm not mistaken. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5. I believe it.
Yeah. Then shall they. There shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation.
I forgot how to go. Let's get that on.
Revelation 19 and 10.
Yeah.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 19, verse 10. It says, and I fell at his feet to worship him.
Talking about John the Revelator.
And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua. Worship God, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy.
Right, and you got to prophesy, man. Paul even spoke about despise not prophesying, roughly paraphrasing.
Yep.
But what these these pastors in the church, they don't prophesy to you. They don't tell you the end. I'm gonna just say verbatim what he said. The spirit of prophecy. Matter of fact, bring that back up.
It says for the testimony of Yahushua.
Right, so I'm gonna just say verbatim. Lord forgive me. But for the spirit of what? Of Jesus Christ is a spirit of prophecy. But are they telling you about prophecy that the Lord brought out? The Lord in Matthew 24, Mark 13, Luke 21, that prophesies of what? When he was going to come back and the things that would happen before he comes back. Why aren't they telling you about that in these churches, man? Because they don't have the spirit of the Lord on them. And they know if they tell you the truth, right? Or if they tell you and you question them and ask them, what's this mean? What about this? What does this mean in the scriptures? What? They're going to see when they tell you, oh, I don't know, they know that they're going to lose the people. Because really it's not about the people. It's really about the money. Or really they look at the people as money. Because they know if they lose their congregation, they're going to lose money, they're going to lose their family, they're going to lose everything. That's why they don't tell the people the truth. So they don't really have the spirit of the Lord in them, because otherwise they would be prophesying. What would they be prophesying? Of the end, of the downfall of this kingdom. But they know the downfall of this kingdom is really the downfall of them, and they don't want it to end. That's why they don't speak about these things.
Sure. I can make a quick point, because that's actually a very selfish mentality. They want it to not happen in their lifetime, so they don't have to deal with the travail. But consider how much suffering our people are going through every single day that this kingdom goes on. So for you to want it to be delayed, that's like you only about you. You're not about the bigger picture. Even the creation is in travail.
Right.
The animals are crying out. The trees are in pain. They're going to rejoice when the devil is put down. So sooner the better.
Yep. Scripture said that the whole creation. Yep. Yeah, I found it right. Was that Romans 8?
Yeah, it's Romans 8.
For a whole creation.
Either 20 or 20.
Yeah, I'm looking around 20. The expectation. Here we go. I got it right here. I believe this is the book of Romans, chapter 8, and I'm gonna start at verse 19. It says, "For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of God. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willing, but by reason of him who hath subjected the same in hope. Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. For we know," verse 22, "that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now." Yeah, I was gonna say to add into your point that you made. So it is a selfish mindset. Really, the Lord bringing the destruction is love. You know, because if He didn't, we still be stuck in this pain right here. You know, it's like when somebody's shoulder gets dislocated, you know, and you say, well, I don't want to feel the pain of you popping it back in, so I'm gonna just keep on walking around with it. You're gonna suffer more the longer you try to avoid that pain. You need to have that it's a necessary pain. So you gotta have it. It's a one-time thing. So the Lord needs to bring this mass destruction on this place, or really on the whole world, to cleanse it, to cure it. And He's gonna do it by ultimately at the end by fire. But that's okay.
Like Yahweh Shah said, there will be no flesh left to save. Yep. And that's what happens with infection. When you don't take care of it, after eventually, why? It spreads and spreads and spreads. If it's like a serious infection, it can kill you. That's right. So just like Yahweh Shah said, unless He shortened the days, there shall be no flesh saved.
Mm-hmm. So,
oh, no. Cool. I'm gonna get a Wisdom of Solomon. I'll read it. Okay. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1. It says, "Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him." Right, and that's what you're seeing right here. What you're reading in the scriptures is actually being manifested in real time right now. What you're seeing right now off of the camera. The righteous man is standing in great boldness against them that have afflicted him. And these elites see the videos, they hear what we're saying, man. Because like it says in Isaiah 13, shake the hand that may go into the gates of the noble. Right. And when you go into that shaking hand, means like it's telling a person about themselves. Like, you know, if your parents ever go like this to you, like, boy, you better stop doing what you're doing. Right. It's like a rebuking. Continuing, it says, and made no account of his labors. Now I was actually going through it with this brother one time. We talked after we did a video. I was watching the highlight of a running back, right? Mm-hmm. And they showed like a football stadium. And when you look at that football stadium, those football stadiums, all these big buildings that you've seen, are made off of our labor. Now, Israelites didn't make football stadiums, but because of our hard work and our labor that we did to build up this place, now this person is able to capitalize off of making big ass stadiums to where he can capitalize off of people running around with a football. Now, don't get it twisted, I like football, but now he's made big ass stadiums to where he can make even more money now. Mm-hmm. And it's like, this is how they've made no account of our labors, man. We don't get a piece of nothing. Like, yo, our backs, our ancestors built this place up for you, and now we don't get a piece of nothing. Now, we don't want what you can give us. We want what the Lord's going to give us, because what the Lord's going to give us is eternal. It's forever, and it's much more better than you. But it's still like, you never even thought to give us anything at all. It's like, damn, but you speak about how you're so righteous, how you care about us so much, but you can't even do right to our ancestors or the generation that came from our ancestors and give us something. Not saying that we want something, but you claim to be a righteous person. Do something right, but it's not in them. Like it says, the spirit that's in him is not upright.
Mm-hmm. I just saw something here. It says billionaire investor Carl Icahn warns the worst is yet to come for investors and compares U.S. inflation to the fall of the Roman Empire.
Oh shit. See the similarities, right? It says inflation. We're going to get that as well, but I'm going to read this real quick. Mm-hmm. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, continuing. Verse 2. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation. Talking about the chariots. It says, behold, he comes with clouds, and all eyes shall see him. Talking about Yahushua when he brings back the armies of heaven. The angels are going to be in those chariots. It says, so far beyond all that they look for, because nobody's expecting to see what you would call an alien invasion with all these spaceships in the sky. Because to people, they think that's foolishness, or they're going to think that, oh, it's an actual alien invasion and we're going to get abducted. But no, the people who are going to get abducted is the elect of the nation of Israel, so to speak. Right. So to speak, with the abduction. It says, verse 3, and they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach, looking at us. Because that's what you see right now when people pass by. They're like, oh, these guys on the corners, you know, these guys always talking about the end of this and people gonna die in death. You guys ain't doing nothing with your lives. You're always doing this all the time on the corners. They look at us, they look down upon us, right? It says, verse 4, when they see that the elect get delivered, it says, verse 4, we fools account his life madness, and his end to be without honor. So they think that we're just wasting our time out, that we're a bunch of nobodies. Verse 5, how is he numbered among the children of the Heavenly Father, and his lot among the saints? Verse 6, therefore have we erred from the way of truth, and the light of righteousness had not shined unto us, and the Son of righteousness rose not upon us. So when they see that the elect get delivered and get saved from all this destruction, and with the final salvation was getting beaten up in those clouds, they're gonna be like, we did all this craziness in life, we did spend all this money, we went here, we went there, especially the most wicked of the elites and all that. Well, I would say the most wicked of the elites, but like I would say like maybe those who are under the elites that are damn, I'm trying to find the word to explain that. Lesser luminaries that spent their lives and did all that craziness for what? They're gonna be like, I did all that wickedness for nothing, just to just get shackled up in chains or get destroyed. And it's like, yeah, that's why it says we fools account. Matter of fact, we read it again. Yeah, it says we fools account his life madness and to be without honor. But it says in verse 5 again, how is he numbered amongst the children of God? Because they're gonna see the salvation, they're gonna see the elect being delivered. They're gonna be like, I wasted my entire life doing nothing. I did all this wickedness for not to prosper.
Gone, and also you're gonna have Jake in that state of mind as well, you know, because you got some of these elites that know who we are, but you also got these Israelites out here that are spending their lives in wickedness, you know, not regarding us and what we're doing. And when the time comes, ultimately they're gonna realize that they had the opportunity to cash in a great reward to invest, but they decided not to. They decided to invest in wickedness, and the Lord said, "You're gonna reap what you sow, and if you sowed to the flesh, you're gonna reap of the flesh corruption." So that's what's coming. They're gonna reap corruption because they didn't sow into the spirit.
Right? Because what is the flesh? The flesh eventually dies. But what? If you sow to the spirit is everlasting. The spirit doesn't die.
That's right.
So, Revelation 6 now? Is there anything in the article?
No, it was just a screenshot of the headline.
Revelation 6 and verse 6. Revelation 6 and 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine.
Right, and when you go into that word penny, it's a denarium, which was the currency of the ancient Roman Empire. And that deals with what? A day's wage. Now, you gotta look at it in modern times now, right? You get paid either weekly or bi-weekly, right? Now, a day's wage in the ancient, matter of fact, from when you get that in the,
I believe it was also for the centurion, and you know centurions got paid more than the average regular citizen, so it had to be a hefty wage. Because in the ancient world, you got paid, you know, by your day's wages, you know, and it's actually in the law that you're not supposed to you're supposed to pay people daily before the sun goes down.
But yeah, that was a day's wage back in the Roman Empire, but you gotta look at it now. Now, you may get paid an average, like let's say about 300 or like let's say around 400, you know, whatever your check may be. But now if what inflation is around, and what inflation is when the value of the dollar goes down, but what the cost of the goods that you want to buy have to go up, because what the value of the dollar is going down. So now it has to pretty much like in a sense compensate now. So you need you basically need more money to get your goods. You're still gonna get the same amount of goods. Or let's say you buy like 5 or 6 apples, and usually it costs like $4 before inflation. But because the value of the dollar is going down now, you need more money now. So now it's gonna cost, let's say about $7 or $8 for the apples, but you're still getting the same amount of apples for more money because the value, the purchasing price of the dollar is going down. It's not as strong as it once was. If I'm not mistaken, if I explained that correctly.
Yep. Got it. Revelation 6 and 6. And I heard a voice from among the 4 living beings say, a loaf of wheat, bread, or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. And don't waste the olive oil and wine.
What are our translation? NLT, that's it.
Now, if I read that one more time, bro, sure.
And I heard a voice from among the four living beings say, a loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. And don't waste the olive oil and wine.
And the oil and the wine is the truth. That although all this is going to go down, that inflation is going to be around. Oh, sorry.
No, it's good.
That we're still going to have the truth. That the truth is still going to be out here for this time being until eventually the Lord takes us off the street. Matter of fact, I think it was the NIV that said something a little bit, get a little bit more pinpoint on this.
So if you do a 9 to 5, you get paid 16, 17, 20 an hour, 22 an hour. You can calculate that, right? 22 times whatever, 12 hours, 9-hour shift. Imagine going to the store and having to pay that. You do a whole 9 to 5 to go get three measures of barley and wheat for a whole day.
But then you also have to put in what? That you have to pay rent. You
Exactly.
have to pay your electric bill, all these other things. You have to probably buy clothes for yourself. If you have kids, that's even more expenses now. So you're not really have any money.
And that inflation is not isolated to just food, because if inflation is causing food to be that much, then you can imagine everything else. And when the energy prices go up, they don't go up for just you, they go up for the manufacturers that make the food. So now the food that's already inflated is going to become more scarce, which takes the price up even higher. So people are going to give up on affording, and they're just going to start taking.
Worst case scenario is coming.
Yep, we don't know the rights to this music.
Right. You want it in the NIV too?
I think it was the NIV that said something.
Revelation 6:6 in the NIV. Then I heard what sounded like a voice among the 4 living creatures saying, 2 pounds of wheat for a day's wages, and 6 pounds of barley for a day's wages.
So you see how much stuff for a day's wage. He has to buy more things, and it's costing his day's wage. And that's what's going to happen in these times. People are going to what? Spend pretty much their whole check to buy, or they're going to have to chinks and say, you know what? Because I remember when I was younger, like about 100 or maybe like a little bit more than 100, and you could come with a whole, like just, let's say it's the size of the cart, with a whole bunch of stuff and go home good for like a month or more. But now, if them, let's say steak is like, I think on average, maybe, I could be wrong, maybe steak is like 20, maybe 30, but now steak is 50, you're gonna be like, I ain't gonna buy like the usual 4 packs of steak. I'm gonna have to cut that down. I think a woman was explaining on the news, she was saying how her kids like, no, not her kids, but her nephews or nieces or nephews or whatever, she was watching them and she was like, how she has to cut down on certain things for their eating habits, because she was like, the kids was like, auntie or whatever, we missed lunch. He was like, yeah, we gotta miss lunch because I ain't got money like that. Well, not they ain't got money, it's just the cost of everything is going up. So she had to miss meal. You're gonna have to miss some meals now. People gonna have to fast. You ain't like to fast, you're gonna have to be forced to fast. We used to it.
Deuteronomy 28 and 17, curse shall thy basket and thy store. So thy basket and thy store. That's what we're dealing with right now, like you were just saying. People spending like $2-3 more than what they used to spend for milk, eggs, and all that. You only gonna get one instead of like getting 2 or 3.
Yep. They're gonna start putting price caps, and people won't think that's a good thing, but that's not really a good thing, because when you look at countries that are economies that get destroyed by inflation, price caps are one of the last measures that they put in place, and price caps is gonna get to the point where it's gonna kill production, because if a business has to pay $20 in order to manufacture the product, but then the government says they got to sell it at $10, the business starts to lose money. And when they start losing money, they become insolvent, or they file for bankruptcy, or they close down. So the more businesses close down, now you ain't even getting anything at all. And that's going to lead the government to come in and give rations. And people, what they don't consider is when the government comes in and takes things over, they get more control.
So have you brought that up?
That's it.
49 and 15.
17. Oh no, 47 slot.
Oh, 47 and 15.
But just going back to add on to his point where he just said, then this is going back to the time of Genesis with Joseph, when Joseph was made a a governor in Egypt, and he interpreted the Pharaoh's dreams. There's going to be 7 years of plenty, which means they was going to harvest crops, harvest food, and then the 7 years of empty, which is going to be the 7 years of famine. And it got so bad in the land that eventually the people had to come to Joseph. The Pharaoh told the people, go to Joseph, and whatever he tells you to do, do it. And the famine got so bad in the land that the people started selling their cattle and all this and things like that. And then eventually it got even worse than that. We're going to read that.
Genesis 47:13. I'm sorry, 13. And there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the famine.
And like it says in Romans 15:4, for whatsoever is written aforetime is written for our learning. So this story, this account that happened in Genesis is going to happen again. And like the brother was saying, how when the government comes in and they start rationing food to you, that's pretty much what Joseph was doing to the people. And it got so bad that the people started giving their cattle and things away to Joseph just so they could have food to survive during the famine. But in this time, Esau's not going to want your car or your food or whatever. He's going to want your hand. He's going to want you to put your hand and say, look, I want to put something inside you.
Yeah, I got appreciate. Yeah. This is the book of Ecclesiastes 1:9. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be, and there is no new thing under the sun.
The water, so brother for plunder. Right, so there's no new thing under the sun. So the same thing that happened back then is going to happen again. And so it's just not going to be about for cattle. It's going to be what? Like the brother said, Esau wants you. He wants to put something inside of you. That's how he's going to be able to have control over you. And like
Esau gonna be Fleece and they're gonna be Chris Hansen.
I like it. I want it.
I watch your TV show all the time.
And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought, and Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. And when money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan,
right, money is failing right now. Eventually, soon, people aren't gonna have no need for money, because eventually people gonna be what? They're gonna be like, my money can't. Well, what happened?
Money don't jiggle.
But eventually the money's eventually the money's not going to be no good. So what? Eventually that's going to lead to what? Like it says in 2 Ezra 15, men shall, invading the houses of other people, killing them because of the lack of bread.
Yep.
You continue.
back in Genesis 47 and 14 and 15, and when money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence?
Right, and you can liken that today. What? It's going to, the famine and everything's going to get so difficult that people will literally look to Esau and say, oh, we need help, like help us, because what? Esau has always been seen as what? The man of salvation, the man that look at me, like I will help you. And he's going to sit and he's going to bring out that small little device that's going to be seen as salvation, that's going to be seen as, this is your help, this is what's going to get you by, this is going to, just put this in your hand and we'll be able to get you in the system and we'll be able to give you food, don't worry about it. But really it's all deceit, man. And that's the same thing that these Edomites did during the time of Antiochus Epiphanes. When you read it in 1 Maccabees, I believe the first chapter, when Antiochus sent his general and second command to go into Israel, but like it says, all was deceit. Yep. It was they ransacked Jerusalem and destroyed it.
Mm-hmm. And they used sellouts to further that agenda.
Right. Just like they're gonna do this time. Exactly.
Back in Genesis 47 and 15, just finishing up that verse, for the money faileth. And Joseph said, give your cattle and I will give you for your cattle if money fail.
Then so it went from transaction via currency to transaction via like the barter system, because now they had to start trading. And then eventually you see it went a step further. And in this time, people gonna give up whatever they can, but in this time, it's not like the government ain't gonna give a damn about your car. I got a brand new 22. I'm still paying mortgage, but I'll give you the car. They don't give a damn about. They're gonna take the car regardless. They ain't gonna use shit. But they got Humvees and tanks and all that. What the hell they need your car for?
That's a part of the executive orders too. They speak of anything of private property will be seized.
Yep.
And in these days and time. Martial law, when martial law declared, whatever land, I got 43 acres of land, Rick Ross and all these rappers, that stuff will be seized.
Yep. Just like Joseph did for Egypt. But this time you ain't gonna come and give it up. They're gonna come and take it. And if you got any food stored up, you a hoarder, they're gonna come in there and confiscate that as well.
But it tells you that, from what I'm saying, 2nd Ezra
16th chapter, yep. Yo, that looks like Stan Lee, man. I'm telling you, this guy. Guy faked his death. He's out here, man.
Genesis 47 and 17, and they brought their cattle unto Joseph. And Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses, and for the flocks, and for the cattle of the herds, and for the asses. And he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that year. When that year was ended, they came unto him the 2nd year, and said unto him, we will not hide it from my Lord.
See, that's the thing about famine, right? You're always gonna be in debt to the lender, because they came, but they got enough for a year. But eventually, the year is gonna come up. Your food is gonna run out, and guess what? You're gonna need to go right back to Esau. That's what he's banking on, because you may say no today, but you might not say no next week, because guess what? Hunger is still hunger, whether it's today or 3 days from now. The thing is, the hunger gets worse as time goes on. So all he has to do is have the food, sit there and wait, because he knows you may say no today, but if you don't get another source of food, you're gonna say no next time and come back to him. So when their food ran out, they had to come back, but now they said, we don't got any more of this, or whatever you want, you know.
Yeah, now it's on them. Now they control pretty much how the deal is gonna go.
Exactly.
It's gonna be on their terms.
I'm gonna tell you like this here.
Genesis 47 and 18, when that year was ended, they came unto him the 2nd year, and said unto him, we will not hide it from my Lord, how that our money is spent. My Lord also hath our herds of cattle. There is not aught left in the sight of my Lord, but our bodies and our lands.
Everybody can see it.
Wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread.
Buy us.
So they sold themselves. That's how bad it got, that after selling all their assets, the donkeys, the herds, cattle, whatever, they sold themselves. They sold themselves in their land. So what do you think in this time, like it says, a time like never before, what do you think people are going to do when that small little device is out? What do you think people are going to do in order to ease their pain? I remember bringing that out, I think it was last week at camp, how people are used to the normalcy of life, how they're used to this normal life being, redundant and going in a regular way. But what happens when things get crazy and it's no longer normal, and this is not how society normally functions? People are going to look for something to get back to that normalcy. People are going to want that, I need to get back at ease because I'm not at ease right now, because people like comfortability, because America makes you comfortable.
Reading it again from the top, Genesis 47 and 19. Wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto Pharaoh, and give us seed, that we may live and not die, that the land be not desolate. And Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for the Egyptians sold every man his field, because the famine prevailed over them, so the land became Pharaoh's.
So Pharaoh got all the land, and that's what the modern day Pharaoh today, he don't want the land, he want the people. That's what he want, and he gonna come for you. Well, all right, really, you gonna go to him. He ain't, like you say, he ain't gonna have to wait. People gonna come to him, because what? Famine called it, you may not be hungry today, but you're gonna be hungry tomorrow. That's what the Lord said in Isaiah 65, my servant shall eat, because the Lord knows how bad it's going to get. He's going to have to feed us, man. Now, yeah, we may have to go through a test of, being without to show our faith to the Lord, but eventually the Lord will feed us. An example of that is Elijah. When the Lord said, oh, there's going to be, I believe by the word of Elijah, basically there was not going to be no rain for about 2 or 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. And the Lord said, get thee unto a certain place. And he brought, there was ravens that brought bread and flesh in the evening and morning for him. And he drank of the brook as well. And then when the brook and everything dried up, he said, go somewhere else. And then eventually, I believe, an angel brought cakes unto him. So we have these examples in the scriptures that the Lord will protect us and provide for us. We just need to show our faith in the Lord. The same way you would want your woman to have faith in you and believe in you, and like when you tell her son, she, you know, she takes everything you say. The same way.
Yep. Well, with Elisha, he did pretty much what Yahushua did. You know, because there's an account in there that says that the men that were with him, they didn't have enough food to feed everybody, but he told them, you know what, just make it anyway. And just like Yahushua did by multiplying the food, he did that and fed I think over 100 men or so, and there was still some left over. They were all full.
With the prophet Obadiah, if I'm not mistaken.
No. This is with Elisha. It was a different account. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, but I know Obadiah, he gave water and stuff to the prophets when they were being persecuted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, it's a different one. But yeah, so he basically did that. So that's clearly something that's been done. It was done then. Like you said, the angel, literally with Elijah, he was asleep. And when he woke up, the angel had brought food and a cruse of water next to him twice, and told him, and he went on the strength of that meal for 40 days. That's
People
tough.
can't
Damn.
go
Yeah.
Can I have some of that?
People can't even stop eating for like a minute.
Yeah, two,
An
3
hour.
hours. Yeah,
Yeah,
2-3 hours. They're
yeah.
already hungry. Trying to get a stop at a fast food restaurant and shit.
That's why cannibalism is gonna come back. Because
Oh,
after the food's done, they're gonna look at people like the food.
Yep.
Or they're gonna look at objects, whatever it may be, like a tire, and eat it. Like we brought up that example with the cartoon. You know how the cartoons, when they get hungry and they start looking at a person like,
Looking like a big piece of chicken.
that person, why you looking at me like this?
They're not talking. They're just hungry.
He's licking his lips.
Yeah.
And then they coming after you.
Yeah, because you see, all it takes is for something to snap in their head, and then for them to just, they got so hungry that they say, look,
Logic
what's the
goes
difference?
out.
Yeah, what's the difference between a human meat and animal meat? Meat is meat, right?
It's not gonna look like it when I cook it.
Exactly. And then once a cannibal, always a cannibal, because once they get that first taste and they condition themselves to say this is okay, this is not so bad, they're gonna be in a cannibalistic spree, because now they're gonna go from food scarcity to food in abundance because there are people everywhere. You know what I mean? So it's like that's what they're gonna start doing. If you have no problem eating people, you're not worried about a famine. You know, your food is in stock.
Oh, don't mind if I do.
That's it. And a human being is pretty decent
Size.
to read.
So you can go for days.
You get 2-3 people in your basement. That's a month's worth right there.
Wasn't there a movie like that?
I think so.
That was
The Road.
That was
yeah.
the
Road.
son and the father.
They went to the basement and the people was there. Yeah. I think it was
I was just gonna say, because these people in America are very overfed, so these people are gonna be looking like a fatted cat.
Right.
that day, like-
Yeah.
And I had just looked up the Hebrew word, because in Job it mentions that the wicked become fat and they have columns of fat around them. And that the Hebrew word, I forget what it was, but it was like excessively fat and plump. Like, that's what these people are, bro. You know what I'm saying?
What was the king that got killed?
Eglon.
That's
Eglon,
They
yeah.
stabbed him. He couldn't pull it out.
Yeah, he was stuck in
The dirt came out.
Yeah.
In
And
Judges,
they-
right?
Yeah, in Judges, and they can't run. If a band of cannibals said, "Look, we're gonna target this one," it's like a lions going hunting, and they say, "You see all these people right here? You see that fat one right there? We're gonna catch him easily." If everybody starts running, this person ain't gonna know. They're gonna trip and fall down anyway, or they're gonna run out of breath. I mean, you might as well not even run in the first place. If they have a car, and you know you can't run 2-3 blocks without stopping to catch your breath, what do you think is gonna happen to you? And they're gonna come for you because you know you're on the bigger side of things. So, you know, they could do more. But that, like you said, that thing is coming, and more than likely you're gonna see more of like parents eating their children, those kinds of situations, because it's easier for a parent it happened in the past, to eat their child. Their child can't fight against them, especially when they're younger and infants. And here it is. Imagine like a 6-year-old old enough to be able to think at least a little bit, hearing their parents at night discussing about, no, we can't do that. That's our only daughter. Oh, Sarah, we have no other option. We have to. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, what's going on? Daddy, mommy, no, go to sleep. Everything is all good. And she's boiling the water and shit. And he's sharpening the knife. Parents to do that. Now you gotta really ask yourself, do you know what a parent will do to protect their own child? So how hungry do you have to be for you to see, when you commit cannibalism, murder goes with it, because you gotta murder the person in order to eat them, right? So how hungry do you have to be to murder your own child and then have the cojones to eat them at the end of that?
because it puts you in. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say real quick. My bad. So I got you. It puts you in an animalistic mindset because what you gotta kill the person, you gotta bash their head in, and then afterwards you gotta just slice them up, start cooking, and then cooking them.
Yep. All I see is food.
And then the more you do it, the more you get used to it, and the more animalistic you get.
Mm-hmm.
Deuteronomy 28:55, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he have nothing left in them in the siege.
He gonna be selfish with it too. That's crazy, man.
Damn, you gonna eat your kids and then you gonna just be like, nope, all for me.
Well, the account with the was it the two mothers?
Yeah.
They cooked one,
Yeah.
but then the other one said, "Oh, well, give me your son now." It's like,
Yeah, you lost your mind, honey. But there was an account in the book of Josephus during the siege of Jerusalem where the zealots burned all the food. So the people started starving. They started eating their belts and leaves and all of that. And there was a mother who, every time the zealots would come, they would take all the food that she had. So it got to a point where she looked at her son and then she said, look, it's going to be cruel to try and, I can't breastfeed you because I don't have any nutrients and none of that. You're not going to survive this anyway. So she killed her son, and then she cooked her son, and then she ate a bit of it. So when the zealots came in there, they was like, yo, what the hell? What's that smell? Because when you boil or roast or whatever human flesh, it does not smell like when you cook or fry chicken. It has a horrible scent to it because human flesh is not supposed to be prepared as if to eat. So when they came in there, they smelt that. And then they opened up what you got for us today. And then, they try to find out. She basically told them, look, what's that smell? They said, that's my son. Yeah, you want some food, right? Go ahead, come join me. Let's have some dinner. But she had basically, like, her mind had been so far gone out of desperation that she resorted to eating her own child. And it goes into detail as to how they ran out. They all ran out. Them big ass brolic zealots came in there with daggers and shit. They all ran out because they're like, this woman done lost her mind.
Eat us?
Yeah, she might eat us. She might be a witch. So, yeah.
Lamentations 4:9. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. Right, they that be slain with the sword are better than those that be slain with hunger. Because when the sword comes in, let's say you get shot or you die in battle, it might be drawn out for a little while. You might have a mortal wound and then die.
Right.
But ultimately, if you got to starve to death, that's a slow, agonizing, painful death. That's like the worst way to die, pretty much, because it's drawn out.
Your body is eating itself from within.
Right.
The hunger in Africa, they show you how you got a whole big stomach because the gases is building up from eating everything within inside yourself. So they show
They got a
that
big
all the
head
time.
too.
Yeah, your head swell. That's a slow agonizing death.
Yeah. There's a precept in the book of Lamentations, the 4th chapter, how it talks about how to die by the sword is they that.
Yeah, that's what I just brought out.
That's what you just brought out?
I'll read it again.
Oh, shoot, okay.
Lamentation 4:9. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for want of the fruits of the field.
Pine away, exactly. And when you're pining away, like brother's going into your body starts to eat itself because you have fatty acids that get stored, and those are for reserves. So when you haven't eaten in a while, your body draws on those and eats that, as a form of getting energy. But when you run out of the fats, then your body starts to eat your muscles, and then it starts to, go further and further. So your body, you start getting skinnier and skinnier. You see, like the bar said, they'll have a big head, and then you'll see their rib cage showing, and then their big stomach, but everywhere else is skinny and lanky. And eventually, it gets to the point where you get so far that even if they fed you and gave you water, you wouldn't come back. You just die. Yeah, your body wouldn't be able to. It'll pass the point of no return, and you just die. Yeah. That's why, like, some kids, they might rescue them and they might even plug the IV and everything, but the children still die. They don't make it because at that point, your immune system is pretty much next to non-existent. So even a common cold, the slightest of a whiff of a disease can kill you. And that's usually how people die when they don't have food. Usually, sometimes it's not the hunger that kills them, is their immune system gets so weak that any disease can put them to death. So Luke 21, right? So at the top?
No, we start this one.
Come on. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 5. It says, and as some spake of the temple, let me make sure I'm in the right one, all right. And as some spake of the temple, how it was adorned with goodly stones and gifts, he said, as for these things which ye behold, the days will come, and this was the Lord Yahushua speaking, the days will come in the which there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And when they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass?
Now you see, they were asking him questions like, what are the signs? What are we gonna see to know like when all these things that you're about to tell us gonna happen? This is what people in the churches should be asking. This is what people should be asking them churches, like, yo, what are the signs, Pastor? Like, we know at the end is coming, but how are we gonna see the end? But they're not telling you about that. They're just telling you about prosperity. You're gonna get that house, you're gonna get that car, don't you worry, you're gonna get the things that you want. But what good is a house, what good is a car when the end comes? You're not gonna take the house with you to heaven. You're not gonna take the house with you to, the car with you to heaven. And when I'm saying heaven, I'm meaning in their version of heaven, because their version of heaven is going up in the clouds and things like that. Because it seemed like for you people in the churches, you don't want to go to heaven. It seemed like your whole life existence is just about being here. It's not about going up and being with the Lord. It seems like you just want to live it up here, and it seems really like this is your heaven.
Yep. That's right.
Hey, I saw the pastor telling his congregation that they need to sow a tithe of $1,000 apiece.
Yeah.
Eesh.
One member has to come up. You saw that? The same dude who got robbed for all his jewelry in Brooklyn, he's telling his congregation like, other churches have the ability to come up with thousands for their church, and they pastor social job. The guy with the Gucci tuxedos on and all that stuff. Like, yo, these pastors is living their life. They built up their treasures in this world, and the Lord said, build up your treasures in heaven.
Right.
You know.
But at the end of the day, you know what? The pastor's all right. It's the people that are stupid, because if you let a pastor swindle you like that, then can you blame him? He saw the opportunity. He said, damn, these things are dumb. No wonder they're sheep. These people are dumber than a bag of rocks. You tell them, give me $1,000, they're going to come and give me $1,000. And they're not learning nothing. So people, you got a lot of people that become pastors as a profession for money. They don't do it because they want to. Ain't no way you're going to go to some theological cemetery to become teach the word of the Lord. The Most High he ain't dealing with theological cemeteries to give you the word. All right? The word of the Lord comes through the Spirit of the Lord. Peter and John were unlearned men, and yet they had the Spirit of the Lord. What degree did they have? You know, where did they learn under scribes and grow up in the house of scrolls and all that? No. What you got it, bro?
Yeah, hey, the scriptures say freely you have received, freely given.
Right.
So, you should support the men of the Lord, but they're not the men of the Lord, church pastors. But ultimately, we're not supposed to sit here and say, nah, we're not breaking this down to you unless you give us $1,000. We need to see your W-2s. You know that a lot of this, especially in Brooklyn, they be doing this all over New York.
That's crazy.
But you need your W-2 form. Go in that motherfucker and be a member. You need to actually bring your financials.
What the hell?
Yeah, because my aunt was in Star City in Brooklyn, and they built this big mega church. And my cousin checked it out because he knows the truth, and he was just seeing it out. And he found out that you actually have to have all your financial, like you have to give that to the church, and a lot of them do that shit. But if you're that simple, if that's not like
That's crazy.
bringing a red flag to your mind and like, nah, this shit is off. You don't know the scriptures. They err not knowing the scriptures.
They're led to the slaughter.
That's right. You can't really, you blame the pastor, but it's really the people. At a certain point, it's like, what's that saying? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And y'all people getting fooled 1,000 times. So at that point, I don't know what to call you.
That's it. Yeah, my mom sent me saying, apparently, they said that this guy Biden, Fauci, behind the scenes, he would be laughing at people for taking heed to his orders to wear masks and follow whatever he said. Basically like that. Look at these niggas. I tell them put a mask on. They put the shit on. This thing is so cold. That's what this guy was doing behind the scenes. So and you got people dying. They got 2-3 masks, a face shield, and a hoodie. You know what I mean? And a hazmat suit just to go to the grocery store.
They go to old Jake with a mask right now.
No, look at that. Yeah, they masked up, prayed up.
And Biden just said that the pandemic is over. You don't gotta do this, you don't gotta do that. But it's like a joust. Like we playing with y'all against what the CDC say and what I say. Like Trump
The sea people.
Yeah, Trump was like, man, corona ain't nothing.
Wow, let's use them code words, bro. Throwing out them bombs.
Oh, yeah, word, my bad. C-Vid ain't nothing. But you know.
Oh no, don't say that. I did that. My video got taken out.
The Crown Vicky.
Crown Vic.
Yeah, Crown Vic.
I said that one.
Say that.
Get out of here.
That's it.
Yo,
Can't say that.
You can't say nothing nowadays.
It's family.
My stick.
Hey, I remember there was a time when you could say damn near anything without having to be conscious of what you're saying. And this goes to show you how the famine of the word is coming. It's like how you have a tap and you open the tap all the way, and then you slowly start to close it, and the water slowly gets less and less till it just drops till nothing comes out. And that's what you're seeing. Now we got to speak in code, so you're getting less and less, you know, but it's the spirit of the Lord.
Right now, I just bought a unit for my faucet because they saying New York water is tainted with something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the unit, the device is where you hit a knob and you allow the regular water coming straight from the faucet to flow fully. But when you lift the lever down, in order for you to filtrate the water, it only comes in a little stream. So it's like we ain't dealing with the little stream. Everything is filtered with us when we say what we say. But you want the clean version, and you want the truth, we gotta be speaking in code. We gotta go through the filtration system to weed out whatever they saying that we got the right to take your video down because of what you said. So it's like, dang, y'all really ain't getting none of the real truth.
Yeah.
And we refuse to sit down with us without the cameras running. You'll hear a lot more than what we really got to say.
Right. So you wait longer to fill up like your bottles and stuff,
Yeah,
right?
it take a whole like 30 seconds just to get a cup of water.
Yeah.
It's just that much of a small stream. Of
Nah, send me that link. I'll talk to you after camp. Send me the link because I need some of that too.
Yeah, me too.
Attach it right to the tip of the nozzle when you hit the knob and the water come on, you throw it on there, and that's the. I got you.
Yeah, you shall drink poison and live, but I ain't taking that risk. Nah, but yeah, let me get back in here for you. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 6. It says here, verse 5. No, verse 6. And as for these things which ye behold, the days will come, in the which there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass? And he said, Take heed that ye be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am anointed, and the time draweth near. Go ye not therefore after them.
And you have that. Men in the churches and even men in Israel who are saying that they have the truth, but then they're still deceiving and leading the people astray the wrong way. They're saying that they're anointed, but they don't have the real spirit of Yahushua upon them. As for you, I believe Elder Apostle Gabar did a video about like that. I said maybe more than a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, where he said it's up to you to discern between the right and wrong, for you to know who's the true prophet, who's the false prophet.
Yep.
I believe it was like maybe more than 2 months ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Going on, it says here, verse 8, and he said, verse 9, but when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by.
And that, what verse was it? 8, right?
9.
No, right. And that's what you're hearing right now, hearing of wars and commotions. What you have the war over there with, between Russia and Ukraine. Putin's talking about he's not backing down. He's serious about nuclear war now. You're hearing about these things going on in the world, but what our people are just. I think I heard my mother say, "Oh, Putin's the bad guy. God gonna stop him. I mean, yeah, you're right. God is gonna stop him. We also gonna stop America as well. But why is it not all of a sudden Putin's the bad guy? Putin's just doing what he gotta do for his country. Because the thing was what? If I'm not mistaken, it was like, yo, the deal was, do not push any further with your whole NATO and the EU thing into my area.
Right.
Because he was felt threatened that, oh, they're going to try and overtake us by getting Ukraine. And what he did was like, yo, I'm going to put a stop to this. I'm going to go to war with Ukraine so y'all can't do none of this. I remember the elder to Zion breaking this down like months ago, breaking it down, going all into it. But basically, Putin is just doing the right thing and look, defending his country. But now all of a sudden, because y'all listen to the media, now Putin's the bad guy. Putin's just evil. No, Putin's doing the right thing. He's a devil, but he is doing the right thing. He's defending his country. But now all of a sudden, everybody, God gonna stop Putin? Yeah, but Putin ain't the bad guy here.
Gotta watch out, brother. The men in black gonna come pay you a visit.
It's like, hey, come on now.
Yeah. But what's it called? They said, I was listening to this podcast, and basically they were saying that pretty much the reason Russia went up in there so quickly was because they said that there was a Russian-backed Donbass, Russian-backed region in Ukraine, and Ukraine was actually going to go invade them. And I remember Russia said, we're not going to go in there unless they ask us for help. And when they did request for help, Russia went through the process of their Congress saying, look, allow us to be able to go up in there and defend them. And then Russia said, all right, we're going to get up in here. That makes sense as to why the U.S. was so sure that Russia was going to invade on this day. They're going to invade on this. They're going to invade next week, Wednesday. How do you know that? Russia hasn't come out and told you that. Because they knew they had a certain trigger that they knew for certain the day we say, look, go up in there, Russia's going to be triggered to they're going to have to come up in here. But either way, like you said, it's interesting because if the roles were flipped and Russia was the one doing that here near the borders of the U.S., they would have done, them missiles we would have been in the kingdom already by now, But they would have been right to defend themselves. But when somebody else does it, no, that's not, they're terrorists. That's wicked. What about what you did to the other countries? You dropped Moab on freaking Afghanistan or so, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, you dropped fat man and little man, fat boy, whatever they call it, over there. No, you're not a terrorist for that? So they're hypocrites.
God ain't gonna come after them.
Right, he ain't gonna come after them. It's okay.
It goes back to, if I may, it goes back to just Christians in general and Americans just having a problem with prophecy. But that's what it all is. It's prophecy unfolding. It's the Lord's will. I heard a True News cat, what's his name? Wiles, something like that. The Devil, True News.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, I can send y'all the video. But he did he did a feature on this whole thing with Russia and the referendums for those regions of Ukraine, and he mentioned God doesn't want war. God doesn't want war. Motherfucker, it says he's a man of war. Now in our kingdom it ain't gonna be no war, but you're the devil, and you've won by war. You got on top by war. Your blessing is the sword, so it's only fitting that you go out by the sword. He that live by the sword shall die by the sword.
But all of a sudden he's an expert on what God wants. But wait, God wanted war when you wanted war, right? But now God doesn't want war because you don't want war?
But Revelation 17 tells you that this is the Lord's will, because it says, for the Lord had put in their hearts to fulfill his will.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Get around it.
That's it. That's it. All right, I will make war with Amalek from generation to generation.
Right.
Yahushua, I that am mighty to save. That what's that? In righteousness that he make war and judge. What are you talking about, man?
Those that would not come before me and kneel before me, slay them before me.
Bring them hither and slay them before me. Yep.
He's like his father. They both men of war.
Yep. That's right.
I come to bring fire on earth. What will I have already be kindled?
That's it.
That's how you know he's a so-called black. Only Jake would say something like that.
Yeah.
I come to set fire on earth. That's basically Jake saying, I come to set it off.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's a rap right there.
Esau don't talk like that. You ever watch The Passion of Christ?
Yeah, that shit. Man.
But I was going to bring up that word commotion. And when you go into that word commotion, it says the outline of biblical usage. It says instability, a state of disorder, disturbance, or confusion. So when you're hearing about commotions in the world, you're seeing what? You're seeing instability in the world. You're seeing a state of disorder. If you go over there and look at Russia, what? Putin is now forcing people to get drafted into a war. People is breaking their arms so that way they don't have to go in the war. People is protesting against it. And was that also going to, if I'm not mistaken, Proverbs, is it 28:2 or 29:2? When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn.
Right.
So that's telling you who's in rulership right now. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Esau, Edom, Malachi 1:4, they shall call him the border of wickedness.
That's right. That's right.
And it says disturbance and confusion. You can go ahead. Just
Cut.
wanted to get that.
Come. This is back in Luke 21, verse 10. It says, Then said he unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven.
If I'm not mistaken, I know Matthew 24 says that all these are the beginnings of sorrow.
Yep.
So the famines right now is happening. The inflation that's going to cause the shortage of food, that's just the beginning, but it's going to get worse. The nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, you're seeing the beginning of it, but it's only going to get escalate and get worse to the point where it's going to be it's going to turn to World War III.
Yep, that's right.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Isaiah, Isaiah 19:2, where it says, I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian.
Yep.
You're going to see that slowly but sure, but you were seeing that what? With the whole people, when you're seeing people on Biden's side and people on Trump's side,
Yep.
you're seeing Egyptian against Egyptian, which is basically just American versus American. That division that Yahweh shall say he was going to bring. You think I come to send peace on earth? Nay, I say but division.
Set a man at variance.
With his
foes.
household.
Yep.
A man's foe shall be a day of his own household.
Yep.
That's why if you come into his truth and you try to tell people about this truth in your household, you're like, you into some cult, you into some, they're separated from, because when you was in the world and you was like them, you was at one with them. But now when you come under the spirit of Yahweh Shai, there's that division, there's that wall, there's that block there, to where you're no longer being like them. They're in the image of the world, so to speak, and you're trying to come into the image of the Son of the Heavenly Father. God damn.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
That's man.
It's lucky.
It's all good.
You trying to be in the image of the Most High, His Son.
That's it.
So you going one way in life, they're going in another way. So that way, can two walk together lest they be agreed?
That's right.
Now I'm not saying that you pick fights with your family and things like that, but you gotta understand they're going in one way in life and you're going in the other way.
That's right.
One's leading to, unless the Lord has mercy, one is leading to destruction, one is leading to salvation.
That's how you do it.
1 Peter 4:4, wherein they think it strange that ye run not with them to the same excess of riot, speaking evil of you.
That's it.
So just they speak evil. They'll sit there and say, "Oh, God." Sometimes when I used to fall asleep, I could hear my mother saying things and saying, "Oh yeah, I think he's in the cult. He's in some weird stuff. He acts strange now." But I don't do nothing.
Right.
I do the same thing. Just go to work. I read more now. What's so bad about reading?
Right.
Didn't you tell me when I was growing up, go to school, read your book, study? I never used to. I hated reading. Now I love reading. But now I'm evil because I want to read now.
The scriptures say they speak evil of dignities and things that they know not of. So that's why they don't understand.
Also going back to Wisdom of Solomon 5, the prophets are always going to be looked down on,
Right.
are going to be the offscouring of the earth, get shitted on. Everybody going to think we're bums. I done had people come up on the highways to give me $1, not because
Wow.
they think I'm preaching the truth, because they think I'm homeless, But hey, that's all part of the walk that we in. Rockefeller Yahweh Shemel Shah.
So going on, back in Luke 21. Back in Luke 21, verse 12. But before all these, they shall come. They shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake.
So right. See, that's
Back
the
again.
second time.
They probably went and did a U-turn and came back. No, it's a different. This man is drinking Pepsi. He's chilling. Coke. Verse 12, it says, but before all these, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake.
Right, so we're going to have to be brought to before governors and kings for a testimony, and it shall be a testimony for us. But like Yahushua said, meditate not upon these things, for
The same hour shall be given you.
the water. For in the same hour shall be given to you. For it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father that speaketh within you.
That's right.
So when we have, Lord's willing, if we're those men, and we have to give a testimony for what we believe in, the Lord's going to give us a word that our adversary shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. And in that day, just know the Lord's going to put a mighty words in your mouth to speak against these people, man.
That's it.
Whether it be your family members, whether it be whoever. I'm not saying you're going to go in front of Biden. Whoever knows how it might be. But whoever judge or whoever you may be brought before, or if you have to be beheaded, who knows the words that the Lord's going to put in your mouth to give a strong testimony for him before you go out.
Yep.
Or before you get locked up in prison. To a point where these guys can't say nothing at all. Oh, sorry, my bad. To a point where these guys going to just sit there and say, just lock him away, because I got nothing else for
Like
that.
Agrippa.
Con. It's just put him away. He says some shit. He put us all in our place, but we're not going to give him that. Just lock him away now.
But I think the bar has something first.
Just to land back up what the brother was saying, precept had the spirit, because I had something similar to that in Matthew 24, verse 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. That's why I was like, that's the spirit, because the brother came with a precept just at the same time. For his name's sake, and the Lord have his men to be martyrs, set out to be martyrs. Like the elect might be given up. Not even might. It's a definitely that the elect shall be, broadcast as a martyr to the whole world out of fear to make the world like the shock value. Them guillotines and those things is waiting for us, man. Lord willing, I'll be one of those men, because we stand here as living sacrifices for a reason,
But if I'm not mistaken, was it Yahushua, was it Paul that said, there'll be some of you here that shall not taste the death? So some of us may
have to see that, but for the Lord's sake, they gonna snatch us up off these corners or out of our houses,
Yeah, I got a precept on what you said. This is Matthew 10 and 19. But when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak.
That's how you do it.
from the Heavenly Father.
This is Luke 21, jumping down to verse 25. It says, and there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring.
Right, I've been seeing a lot more blood moons lately as well. And Joel, if I'm not mistaken, speaks about that. Joel, the 2nd chapter. Those are signs from the Heavenly Father letting you know that the end is coming. It's nearer and nearer. These are the signs in heaven. But what did the Lord say through Jeremiah? Be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Because we're supposed to know what it is.
That's right.
We're supposed to know that this is how the Heavenly Father communicates.
Come on. Verse 26. Men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken.
Right, and the powers of heaven is these rulerships, because the Lord's going to shake them up. Continue.
Going on, it says, verse 27, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory.
I believe I quoted that scripture earlier. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. When he comes back with the chariots, he's going to be on that fathership, that large chariot that Ezra saw, that he couldn't see the end of it. And there's also going to be the other chariots that's coming. With the thousands, I believe, I forgot where it's written, but with the thousands of heaven.
Psalms 68 and 17.
So that's what that's talking about. That's when the Lord comes back. But these pastors in the church, they ain't telling you that. Everything they're telling you about is like, the Lord's going to come back. The Lord's going to come back. But what is his return going to be like?
Right.
What is it? Because what? The disciples asked him, what is going to be the signs? What's it going to be like when you come back?
Right.
But why are these people in the churches not asking that? But they're telling you, hey, you got to give $1,000 now.
Yep. per person. And it goes to show you how this is the Spirit of the Lord, because in order to remember these precepts, you gotta have like the mindset. You got brothers that don't have the best memory, and yet when you're in the Spirit and you're going through, you somehow always seem to remember. Even if you don't remember the exact verse, you might remember the chapter, or you might know what precept it is you're looking for. You might remember the wording, and to remember all these things, because these precepts are specific. Certain precepts speak literally about specific things. So to be able to remember book, chapter, verse, that's the Spirit of the Lord. That's why people look at it and they're like, even if they don't agree, they know that there's something behind what we're doing, because in order to know the Bible just like that, that's not easy.
It shows you we're in the same spirit like the men of old, because what Paul did that.
Yep.
He would always say, as it is written.
Yep.
He wouldn't quote and say, okay, as it is written in Daniel this or Psalm this, but he would say, as it is written somewhere, and then he would quote it to the best of his ability. And then you would have to do your diligence and go find where it is. So I'm like, oh, okay, that matches up with that. That's what he was talking about.
Yep. Yeah, because back then they didn't have it in book, chapter, verse form. They had it in scrolls. So like even the Church of Berea, that's why they were diligent, because when Paul says, for example, as it is written, so on and so forth, they had to go and search. That's why it says they searched the scriptures. They couldn't just go and do a word search, because right now the phone will do it for you on Blue Letter. It will do the search. But in the ancient world, there was no Daniel 5 and 10. You had to go read the whole scroll with every part in there to find the one verse that the Apostle Paul was talking about. So that takes a lot of diligence, you know. But going back, this is Luke 21 and 28. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh.
All right. And just to add on to that, because that movie, I seen it finally, Nope by Jordan Peele.
Oh, yeah?
And when every time the chariot would be above them, they're like, nope. And they would just look down. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to subconsciously put in people's mind that anytime you see a chariot, just be like, nope, I ain't looking at it. Because the thing with the chariot, not to sorry of spoilers, no, I'm the spoiler guy, but when you look at the chariot in the movie, it would attack you. But if you don't look at it, you keep your head down, it wouldn't attack you. That was the whole thing of the movie. Because that's why I'm wondering, like, why is the movie called Nope? And every time you see like the trails, they're like, nope. And they would just look down. But what Howard Shaw said, look up, for your redemption draweth nigh. So that's like a little subconscious thing that try to put it in your mind when you see these things, like, nope, don't look up, it's gonna kill me. But nah, this is our redemption.
Yeah. Well, there's that. I think there was that movie, Don't Look Up.
Yeah, that was on Netflix. That's
Oh,
all I was
yeah,
just
yeah.
gonna say too.
So it's all about not looking up, but that's where our salvation. King David said that, right? From the hills, right? From whence cometh my salvation. You know, so they, like you said, they're trying to subconsciously put it, because at first they denied it. At first they said no, UFOs don't exist. The all that stuff, they're not what you think they are. But then when they got to the point where they can't deny it, they said that there was a whole bunch of UFOs that showed up in Ukraine, you know, and they can't deny it. And that has to be like the second time, because I remember doing a video on UFOs showing up in Ukraine a couple months back, and then just recently there was another sighting. But now that it's too much and they can't cover it up, now they got to come out and tell you, yes, these are real, but you know, now we got to demonize it. You know, oh yeah, it's real, but they're not friendly. They're the enemy. They could be Chinese and Russian or some extraterrestrial beings, and we don't know if they're here for peace or not. According to prophecy, we know that they're gonna go to war with them, but the reasons they're gonna give the people is gonna be different. You know, but that's okay though. See, that was it on that. I don't know if you had anything else that you wanted. Bros, had any other precepts? Closing precepts? I
Real
got
quick.
One.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Tristan.
Ezekiel 33 and 6. But if the watchmen see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity. But his blood will I require at the watchman's hand.
That's right.
Yeah, so going back to what we spoke about, that's why coming out here on the highways is so important, because it has to be the true watchman to come out here and prophesy and let our people know whether they hear or forbear. You know, whether you receive it or whether you turn your back to it, we are set up for the defense of the gospel, either way it goes. So those are these false prophets out here that's not warning the people. Yeah, your congregation is going to perish, but their blood will be required at your hand.
Right.
You took advantage of them, and they were dumb enough to believe you. But their blood, I should say, is going to be required at your hand. So those that follow, I forget what scripture that is. That he that follows the flock and the shepherd will be destroyed.
I think maybe in Jeremiah might
Right.
be. Yeah, but I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
Yep.
That was it on that.
Now I got one more precept because going back to the title, you know, you ain't get no help is coming for you, and ultimately that's for those that do not put their trust in Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, but for those that do put their trust in Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, the Lord is going to deliver us. Lord willing, we be of that elect. So this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, verse 70. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord, and they shall be like madmen, sparing none, because during the hour of martial law, when they enact and send these troops out, nobody's going to be exempt. They're going to lock everything down. It says, for they shall be like madmen, sparing none, because they're going to be under strict orders, and whatever you got to tell them is not what they're there to hear. But still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord, for they shall waste and take away their goods, like we were talking about. They're going to come in and confiscate your weapons, confiscate your food, confiscate maybe you. It says, and cast them out of their houses. Exactly, because they're going to be taking certain people up, rounding them up, sending them to different areas, labor camps, concentration camps. All of these things, they're not conspiracy theories. These are reality. It says here, for the, verse 73, then shall they be known who are my chosen. So how are they going to be known who are my chosen? If the chosen and everybody else get treated the same, how are you going to know who's chosen and who's not? So the Lord is going to need to set some difference between how the chosen are in that time and how everybody else is. And we know that everybody else is going to have a detrimental outcome. So if the chosen's outcome is going to be different, then it has to be one of deliverance. So it says, then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. Hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. But the same cannot be said for those that don't put their trust in Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts. And a part of the commandments is to come out here and push the word, because the Lord did tell us to go to the highways and byways. Saith the Lord power, let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves. How was it on that?
Oh, can I just bring up something? I'm going to bring up that same one, but it's in this. Now, the Elder Malcolm from the Chicago camp, he did a video on this Bible, and I bought it after watching it. It's a good Bible.
Nice.
Now, I'm not too sure what translation this is, but I'm going to just read that same thing, right? This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16. I'm going to start at 70. It says, just so we know who the chosen are, right? It says, for in many places and in neighboring cities, there shall be a great insurrection against those who fear the Lord. They shall be like madmen, sparing no one, but plundering and destroying those who continue to fear the Lord. For they shall destroy and plunder their goods and drive them out of their houses. Listen closely. It says, then the tested quality of my elect shall be manifest as gold that is tested by fire. Verse 74. Could you read verse 74?
Back in 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 74, it says here, hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord.
Now it says beloved. Listen to this. Verse 74. Hear my elect, says the Lord. Behold, the days of tribulation are at hand, but I will deliver you from them. Do not fear or doubt, for the Most High is your guide. You who keep my commandments and precepts, says the Lord God, do not let your sins pull you down or your iniquities prevail over you.
I'm going to need to get you and send me that link.
all need
Definitely.
But just so you know, it's the elect. And like Elder Malcolm always goes into when you read the Zondervans, that elect is talking about individual men. It's talking about specific men. It's not universal.
That's right.
So who's that elect? And I believe when you go into, I think it had at the bottom, because it has like precepts. I think it had, matter of fact, let me look it up real quick. Slack. I think it had Zechariah 13 and 7.
The third part, through the fire. It's all good.
Yeah, just so you know what it's going through. Like, yeah, it says for 2nd Ezra 16, verses 68 to 78. It has two precepts here. It says Zechariah chapter 13 verse 9 and 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 7.
Yep. That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
My
just so you can
page,
see it.
my page is called DTA, Hope for Elect. And that's all we all out here to strive to do. Is we hope to be the elect. Lord willing, we be those men, man. That's all.
God. Yep. So anyway, with that, Lord willing, you were edified. Keep the faith. Stay in prayer. And in closing, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodash. Till next time, Shalom.
You can find it on Amazon. I got it.